All right, everyone. Thursday, March 25th, 2021. Beautiful spring day in Minnesota, which actually leads me to a topic that I'll probably be revisiting as the show goes on, as people show up, which is I think this is going to be the last show starting at 1 p.m., I think starting next week, which will be April 1st. I'll probably probably keep to Thursday, but I think I'm going to start the nighttime shows. Wow. 3 people here already. Probably start on the 1st. No fooling. April 1st, next Thursday, I think is April 1st. I might start the show at 9 p.m. because it's getting awfully too nice to sit inside in the early afternoon to do this. And I realize that, unfortunately for my UK listeners, that's not going to be necessarily that convenient, but warm weather's a big deal. Iron Rooster's already here. He says it's not pretty here, stormy in Mississippi. Sorry to hear that. Is it like severe weather? Welcome, Iron Rooster. He's the first to show up in chat today. I didn't really watch a whole hell of a lot the past week because it's been so nice that I've been, prepping for outdoor activities, trying to get my bike. Last year at the end of the season, I broke a spoke on one of my bicycle wheels, so I'm trying to get that fixed. I have a backup bike that I don't really love so much, so I did my first bike of the season. I'm sure all you guys care. Matt says, yo, Matt Haggerty shows up. Iron Rooster says in Mississippi, tornadoes possible where he is right now. He says night shows would be cool. Yeah, I think this is going to be the last. Matt, you probably, if you just showed up, okay, he's got some info for us. But before we get to Matt's new info, if you just showed up, Matt, I think this is going to be the last show for a while until probably the fall. That starts in 1 p.m. I think starting next Thursday, I'm going to start starting shows at 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll still keep it on Thursday, but the weather's just getting way too nice for me to sit inside, an early afternoon to do this. So I'm going to I'll make a short, little video or audio snippet after the show to make sure everyone knows about the time. But I think the time next Thursday, the time is going to go from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the Central Time for the starting time of the show. Iron Rooster says night shows would be cool. Yeah, we're going to start that. And like I say, it's not going to be very convenient for our UK listeners, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. Nice weather is serious business, and I don't waste it. So Matt says, I got the iPhone SE. Congratulations. Matt says, I do miss having a back button, though. Probably because you were an Android user. Matt says, night shows will be better anyway. Yeah, I mean, why do you think they'll be better? I'm just curious. But, I mean, especially, in the winter, it's fine to sit inside when it's freaking below 0 Fahrenheit. It's fine to sit inside at 1, 2, 3 p.m. in the afternoon and do this, but not when it's freaking spring and summer. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I agree. I mean, obviously, from the very get-go when I started the show, I let people know that it's just for the cold weather, and I'd have to see what the hell would happen when the warmer weather arrives. Well, this is what's happening. As I said, I'll make a short little audio snippet after the show in case people don't happen to listen to this show now or after the fact by next Thursday. I don't know if anyone goes to my About page on my channel, but I'll also update the info there. Probably no one goes there anyway. Matt says, well, better in terms of time during the summer. I mean, yeah, exactly. I'll be damned if I'm going to sit inside in the early afternoon during the warm weather. I'll be damned. But Iron Rooster recently shared, just to keep the conversation going, Iron Rooster just recently shared on a comment on my little news update video about the newly released Forest Blu-ray that he just ordered. The newly released Forest Blu-ray. I'm sure he won't mind I divulge that little bit of info since you put it there publicly for everyone to see on that huge whopping video, which got, I don't know, 60 some views or something. So I hope you enjoy the Blu-ray. You got a couple commentaries on there and then some interviews with the guy who plays the loony in the cave and Don Jones, the director. So those are kind of fun interviews and stuff. And 2 commentaries. That's pretty fun. Matt says your audio is kind of clippy. The connection is fine, but your audio makes like a popping sound every now and then. Shucks. Let me move the mic back. Maybe I'm talking too loud. Yeah, because I know when the mic's too close, it does the clipping thing. Maybe I'll try to talk less. If I talk less loud, how's this? Iron Rooster says, yes, I'm excited for that. I also want the Prey Arrow release. It's expensive, though. A little bit of warning. I just recently rewatched the Prey, and I don't know if you've seen it at all, but I think I kind of regret buying the Arrow release. I think that's overall a boring movie. So just a little bit of warning. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but that's kind of not really good in my opinion for rewatchability. Matt says, yeah, it should show up your mic on YouTube Studio. I'll tell you if it's clipping. I think it might be due to your connection. Sounds more like a connection or loose wire. Sounds like when your wire is going bad on a mic. Yeah, I just got this mic 3 weeks ago or something. It's just, I don't think there can be a bad connection. I mean, it's just plugged into USB. I mean, 3 weeks old. It shouldn't have a bad wire. So I don't know what the hell's going on. It's kind of a bummer. Thanks for the report, though. Huh. So it's that bad where you want me to unplug the mic and use a laptop mic? Holy shit. Iron Rooster says, yes, it was decent. I like any slasher, though. I want them all good or bad. Laugh out loud. Matt says, I've had mics go bad in 3 weeks. If they are made like shit, trust me, it happens. I'll deal with it. It might be more sensitive to it than others. Well, now I'm curious to hear what the fuck it sounds like. That's a goddamn bummer. Matt says, I do a lot of audio mixing for my music and videos, so I just noticed shit like that to the extreme. Haha, I'm able to post links. Am I able to post links in the chat? I don't know what, it hasn't worked so far. What do you want to post? Oh, well, I can look. No, I can, I can just bring up the stream on my phone. Why don't I do that? One sec. Wonderful technical difficulties. How does this sound to you, Iron Rooster? Yeah, it should, from what I understand, it'll be a delayed. Let's see what we got here. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see what we got here. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Anyone listening after the fact, bear with us. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. It sounds fine to me. Anyone listening after the fact, bear with us. It sounds testing 1, 2, 3. It sounds fine to me. Anyone listening after the fact, bear with us. It sounds testing 1, 2, 3. It sounds fine to me. Okay, I'm going nuts. I got to get the hell out of the show. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I don't know it because I did some tests when I got it, and in the tests it clipped when I had the mic closer to me. I could be talking loud. Maybe I'm talking too loud. Let me try talking less loud. And I pushed the mic back a little bit because when I first got the mic, I did tests with it way close up to me and it clipped a lot. And the further back I pushed it, the less it clipped. So I'm going to try talking less loud. Matt says, this is the first week I've heard it. I'm going to try talking less loud. Yeah, it's a $50 mic. I can't turn the mic gain down. I don't know where sorry everyone if this is not a very exciting show. I mean, it sounds okay to Iron Rooster. Maybe the audio files will just have to suffer through the clippings. I mean, I can't imagine this sound is worse than it was in the first months of the show when I was using laptop mic. I mean, at least you can't hear the computer thinking, you know. The only place I know of, for anything to do with the mic on YouTube is just the mute button. Well, this is a thrilling first 13 minutes of the show. Holy Toledo. Matt says, "Oh, so this is the first week using this mic?" No, I think it's the third week using it. The second or third week. Third or fourth show, including the Nate and Beth show last week. Yeah, it's a mic that goes directly into the USB. How is it when I'm talking less loud? When I tuned into the show myself, I mean, I could hear some of the clips, but it sounded, other than some of the clips, it sounded okay. Sorry, Iron Rooster and whoever else is listening. This is not a very interesting first 13 minutes of the show. But back to Matt says it doesn't sound like it's clipping. It honestly sounds more like a bad connection on the mic. Yeah, the little bit I listened to sounded okay with the exception of the clipping. So if I'm talking less quiet right now, it's still doing it. Oh, man. I suppose I got to say something. I'm listening to it on the phone here. I suppose I got to say something. I'm listening to it on the phone here. That sounded fine to me. Testing again. I suppose I got to say something. I'm listening to it on the phone here. That sounded fine to me. Testing again. I suppose I got to say something. I'm listening to it on the phone here. Yeah, sounds like my me clipped when I said me. Yeah, sounds like my me clipped when I said me. And then it sounded like it clipped when I said. I mean, Jesus Christ, this isn't a high-tech operation. You might have to just deal with it. I don't think it's a mic connection. I think it's Oh, motherfucker. Let me push it back. This is a thrilling first 15 minutes of the show. Iron Rooster says the test sounds good. Yeah, fun fucking first 15 minutes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe I'll just fucking quit doing the show altogether. Then I won't have a audio issue. Jesus. I guess that kind of ruined my mood, to be honest. No, I'm just pissed. I think we're just gonna have to live with any fucking clipping. I don't think it's a Mike Wire situation because the wire is fucking 3 weeks old. So, oh man, what a bummer. First 15. Well, it's 16 minutes now. Oh god. All right, let's fucking talk movies. Iron Rooster said way back when that in regards to The Prey, it was decent, and he likes any slasher, though I want them all good or bad. That's understandable. Iron Rooster says you can always just mess with it later, referring to the sound. Like I say, who the fuck knows? I'm kind of sick of talking about the sound quality. I mean, how many fucking people listen to the show, you know? Not a whole fucking lot. And I guess audiophiles have to just either not listen or fucking put up with it. Jesus Christ, at this rate, I might just fucking cancel the goddamn show. Fuck me. Let's fucking talk movies and live with the fucking clipping. I mean, shit, the way the show sounded for the first 3 months was crap compared to this. You can hear the fucking computer thinking and well, sorry everyone listening after the fact or even now. This is Nate in a Bad Mood live. Anyone want to talk about anything other than the mic? All right, Iron Rooster gets a prize. He says, I just found Death Valley 1982 in some of my old Blu-rays. Have you watched it? No, I haven't. Austin Wilcutt's here. Welcome. Death Valley. It seems to me I don't know if, oh no, that's a different movie. Because I know Vinegar Syndrome has a, it's Memorial Day Massacre or Memorial Valley Massacre or something. Okay, so Death Valley is probably something different. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. Austin says, hey there, welcome. We just spent the last fucking 16 minutes dealing with the clipping mic situation. And now we're moving forward and we're talking about movies and all of our audio clipping glory. Iron Rooster says it's a slasher. The main character is the boy from A Christmas Story. Oh, funny. I'm seeing for the very first time this particular person, I don't know how to say it, Daphrogg. He says, afternoon all. Afternoon. Welcome. Do you like movies? Bear with me. I just spent the last 16 minutes trying to troubleshoot audio situation going on, and it put me in a shithouse mood. So let's see if I can get out of. Let's see if we can talk movies and get me out of the shithouse mood. It's funny because I just started the show talking about changing the start time from Thursdays at 1 p.m. Central to Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central, and then 16 minutes into it, I'm like, fuck the show altogether. Fuck it. The show's gonna sound like a clip fest. Fuck. You got to hear me get pissed off in real fucking time. Matt says, why did it put you in a bad mood? Shit happens. because it did. Looks like we got 7 listeners, which might really mean 6. Welcome all. Anyone want to talk about any movies or anything? Austin asks, what do you think of the Deep Star 6 Blu-ray overall? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to review it yet. I'll probably do that this year. I mean, it was good overall. I mean, I the only version I ever saw was the full frame, quote unquote, full frame version. So seeing the widescreen version was weird because that movie was probably shot in like the Super 35. So when you're seeing the widescreen version, it's cutting off stuff on the top and bottom that I've seen my whole life up until this point, watching it on home video. So when that happens, it's just a little like, oh, I miss seeing that. And then one of the things you could see with the wider screen was the tank tracks when the tank's backing away from the hole. That's, you know, the earth that's crumbling away and stuff. You could see that they're just pulling this model tank back, and for a second there, the treads aren't even turning; they're just dragging it back. And it's just like I never noticed that on the full screen version before. So seeing the widescreen was actually more of a disappointment than a revelation. But I can talk about that in my Blu-ray review if I ever do it. Iron Roosters asks, ever heard of Too Scared to Scream from 1985? I can't say I'm familiar with that either. Mr. Tight White's here, and he says, I'm eating salsa and chips. Well, he says clips, but I think he means chips. Austin says, I have Witchboard 2 coming in the mail. He also says, I heard the artisan DVD of Deep Star 6 was pretty bad. I mean, it did the job for me. I mean, I went from my VHS tape to the DVD, so the DVD was better than the tape. Iron Rooster says I need to watch Deep Star 6. Yeah, it's something that I grew up with in 1989. You know, I wanted to see it in the theater, but I didn't end up seeing it in the theater, so I saw it when it was pretty new on home video, and it's been with me ever since. It's the lowest because in '89 they did 3 underwater movies, and it's the cheapest one out of all 3, in my opinion. The first released one is the cheapest. Second released one's Leviathan. It's bigger budget, and of course the third released one in '89 is Abyss with the biggest budget. That might have been the biggest budget movie up until that point in general. Austin says Deep Star 6 didn't do well at the box office, sadly. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I think it came out in January or something. That's never a good time of the year for a movie to come out. So, Mr. Tight White and Austin, how do I sound? Do I sound okay, the audio quality? Thanks, Austin. He says, you sound fine. Austin says, which version of The Abyss do you watch more? I don't really even watch The Abyss that often, but I guess when I do the extended version. I think they're both, actually, because in the case of Aliens, I think the extended is pretty much the only version to watch. But in the case of The Abyss, I think the theatrical is still, a case can still be made for watching theatrical, because all of the NTI is making the big wave threat on the city and all that. I mean, that's kind of almost breaks up the pacing of the movie. Maybe that's because I'm so used to the theatrical version, having grown up with that for many years. But I kind of feel like that moment, I don't know. So I think there's a case to be made for either version of The Abyss, whereas Aliens, I mean, the go-to version is pretty much extended, in my opinion. Austin says Michael Biehn gave a great performance in Abyss. Very true. And I don't know if any of you guys know, but quote unquote, Disney or Fox/Disney recently announced Speed coming to 4K Blu-ray, and it's just like, well, that's good, but give us fucking True Lies and Abyss. Of course, I don't have 4K Blu-ray, but one could only assume you'd be able to get the normal Blu-ray if they put out the 4Ks of those as well. But Speed 4K Blu-ray is the step in the right direction towards The Abyss on Blu-ray, and hopefully at some point True Lies. Tight White says, finally got around to watching Friday the 13th. He says 2007 remake, but it's 2009. Wow, the first 20 minutes was awesome, but then the rest was just okay. I did love the fast-moving Jason in the movie. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of that movie at all. I guess I'd kind of maybe agree that maybe the pre-credit scene is probably the best part of the movie, probably. Austin chimes in. He says Aliens works in both versions. That's true as well, but I guess I'd say Aliens works best in the full version for me, because to me the drama of the Ripley's daughter really gives that movie a lot more punch. I'm not going to say that Aliens doesn't work in the theatrical version. I just think the better version is the extended. Yeah, what the hell do you think, Mr. Tight, of frickin' Jason's underground lair? What a crock of shit. Friday the 13th meets Chud. Austin says, we might have gotten a Speed 3 if Part 2 wasn't such a flop. Well, good thing Part 2 was a flop then. I bought that on DVD for like $3 a long time ago, and goddamn, what a disaster that movie is. Iron Rooster says, I remember watching the remake in theaters with my ex-girlfriend. Good times, laugh out loud. So, okay, good. Did you like the remake or the reboot, Iron Rooster? Austin says the assembly cut of Alien 3 is interesting. Is that the long version on the Blu-ray? I can't remember it, but I remember thinking the differences were interesting. Mr. Tight White says, yeah, that was BS. I'm not even sure what he's referring to. Austin says Speed 2 was pretty bad. Laugh out loud. Yeah, isn't that something? How the same guy who did the first one effed up the second one so bad? Austin says, yeah, it's the long version. I can remember thinking I can just remember thinking when I first saw that different version of Alien 3 that it was just cool to see it. Iron Rooster says the remake was okay in regards to Friday the 13th. Austin says Lawnmower Man 2 got a Blu-ray. Yeah, wasn't that just announced or something? I'm not 100%. I think it was just announced or something. Yeah, I've never seen it. I actually got the DVD, but I've never seen it. Yeah, see, I can't even pronounce this name. DAPHOGG says, did anyone see director's cut of Nightbreed? That's on Tubi TV for free, and I mean to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet. Anyone listening, that's the director's cut of Nightbreed, or at least the last time I checked, is on TubiTV.com. Iron Rooster says, oh, okay. So it's pronounced defrog. Iron Rooster says, have watched any of the Halloween or Friday 13th in the theater? That's a good question. Okay, here's a little bit of history, Nate history here. So the very first Halloween I ever saw in the theater was Halloween 5. And then I watched 6, and I think I've seen the rest. Wait, no, I didn't. Okay, so I watched 5 in the theater, 6, H2O. What the hell comes after? Oh, I didn't see Resurrection in the theater. I'm glad. We did end up seeing the stupid Rob Zombie one in the drive-in, and then I didn't see the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 in the theater, because why would you? And then I saw the 2018 one in the theater, and as far as Friday 13th, the first one I saw in the theater was Jason Takes Manhattan, and then I saw Jason Goes to Hell on opening day, and saw Jason X in the theater, and unfortunately the reboot in the theater as well. So there's a little history of the Halloweens and Friday 13th that I saw in the theater. I've since seen like the first Friday the 13th, in a theater in midnight screening kind of situation or special screening situations. Oh, Austin says Lawnmower Man 2 on Blu-ray is already out. Okay. Austin says I saw Halloween 6 and 7 in theaters. Okay, cool. Yeah, unfortunately, I also saw My Bloody Valentine 3D in the theater. It's so weird how that movie and Friday the 13th, 2009 came out within like weeks of each other. And one of them has one brother from Supernatural and the other one has the other brother from Supernatural. Austin says the Scream Factory Blu-ray of Lawnmower Man 1 is a nice release with both cuts. Yeah, I've got that. I've been meaning to review it, but there's so much to review in so little time. Oh, okay. So I don't think I've mentioned this for a while. I think everyone here pretty much. I don't know about DeFrog, but I think everyone else is in America that's talking in chat right now. I don't think I've mentioned it for a while, but I think this will be the last week because of the weather getting so much nicer. This is going to be the last week where I start the show at 1 p.m. I think starting next week, Thursday, I'm going to start the show at 9 p.m. Central Time and do that for basically all the way probably until October or something, if I'm still even doing the show then. So I'll make after the show, I'll make a separate little audio snippet to let everyone know about the time change, but it's getting way too nice out to sit inside and do this in the afternoon. What does everyone that's listening think about that time change? I think everyone here is mostly in the United States. So Austin says New Line butchered Lawnmower Man in post-production. The director's cut is the true version, in my opinion. Agreed. What I'm going to have to do is watch both versions before I review it because I haven't seen theatrical probably since I saw it in the theater. Because even the tape, I think, wasn't it originally released like in the theatrical cut and director's cut? I think the only home video version I've ever got is the director's cut. So it'll be interesting seeing the theatrical cut again for the first time since seeing it in the theater. Me and my dad saw it at a second run theater. Austin says the VHS was both theatrical and unrated. I have that tape as well. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the theatrical version since the second run theater. Austin says it's nice to see the director's cut remastered in HD and widescreen. Yeah, exactly. Is that Lawnmower Man Scream Factory Blu-ray still available? Or is that out of print? I got it previously viewed like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I guess people don't really have much to say about the new Showtime next week. God. Yep, good old-fashioned silence. I tell you. Austin says the Laserdisc was the only way to get the widescreen of the director's cut for a long time. The DVD was only theatrical. Huh, I can't remember if I had to have the DVD or not. I think I would have. They never put out a director's cut on DVD before? Wow, that seems weird. Huh. Iron Rooster says, I'll be back here in a minute. Got to watch the weather for a minute. Yeah, it sounds like Iron Rooster's got some severe weather in Mississippi down there. That sucks. Austin says, nope, no director's cut on DVD. Huh. Austin says the Blu-ray, Scream Factory Blu-ray is still in print. Okay, that's good for anyone who might still want it. I hate when things go out of print. You wish things could just stay in print for the rest of eternity. Austin says, have you seen The Curse? Is that the one from the 80s or something? I don't think I have. Austin says Return of the Living Dead went out of print mysteriously recently. Austin says, yeah, the 80s movie of Curse. No, I don't think I have. I think I can picture the cover, though. Yep, that's what silence sounds like on YouTube. Silence. I can only assume Matt left us. I haven't seen anything from Matt for a while. If he's still here, how do you like the iPhone SE? But I can only assume he left. Pissed me off and left. Thanks. Austin says, I have the Scream Factory double feature of The Curse/Curse 2, The Bite. Okay, cool. And he says, I'd saw to print too, laugh out loud. That's a bummer. Good thing you got it then. DeFrog says, anyone know anything about the remake of Candyman? No, I don't. Other than what's his name is producing it. I think it would have been cooler if what's his name would have directed it, because to be honest, I'm kind of I thought Us was pretty darn good. So, if that guy directed it, the remake of Candyman, it'd probably be better than it's going to be with him just producing it. Austin says, I have the out of print Monkey Shines Blu-ray as well. Austin says, The Frog, it's actually a sequel. So the upcoming Candyman's a sequel and not a remake. Austin says, yes, it's a sequel with baby Anthony as an adult. Oh, okay. Is it supposed to be a sequel to the original or sequel to something else? We've got a whopping 3 people, which probably means just 2 people, probably Austin and the Frog. Austin says it's ignoring 2 and 3. Okay, so it's like a Halloween 2018 Candyman. Wish they could do that with the new Friday the 13th movie. Just make a sequel to the first one, have Adrian King back. How cool would that be? Adrian King versus Jason. How cool would that be? Of course, she's a little, not a spring chicken anymore, but either was Jason. At least she's alive. Jason's undead. Yeah, I beat him to it. Austin says basically another Halloween 2018. Silence. Silent but deadly. Oh, here's something I can talk about in between the silence. I recently got this at a store. I'm not going to plug the corporate store, but it's a Mill Creek 3 DVD set called, on the cover, it's called Shadow Stalkers. $5 in a bin at a store, which will go unnamed. 10 terrifying features. Out of the Dark, Happy Birthday to Me, Eyes of Laura Mars, Bloody Pit of Horror, Don't Answer the Phone, Nightmare in Wax, Silent Night, Bloody Night, Funeral Home, Don't Open Till Christmas, and Driller Killer. And actually, I tried watching a bit of Driller Killer, and it's actually incorrect. Instead of Driller Killer, it doesn't include Driller Killer, it's Drive-In Massacre. But it should be said that the first disc of this, let me take a look-see. I'm pretty sure the first disc of this has the first 3 movies on it. And of course, it's the third one on the bottom. Bear with me. So the first disc has Out of the Dark, Happy Birthday to Me, and Eyes of Laura Mars. And I think they're all widescreen, decent, the more recent HD widescreen transfers. So, this collection is good just for that one disc. I never seen Out of the Dark, and to be honest, it wasn't that amazing. But the version of Happy Birthday to Me and Eyes of Laura Mars you get on this disc is like the widescreen HD version. So everything else on here that I saw was just old crappy ass standard definition versions on the other discs. I just watched Don't Answer the Phone. I've seen Don't Answer the Phone a long time ago, but God, that movie, it's so stupid. Like the title, I don't know where they got the title from. It hasn't. You think it'd be a phone-based movie, but it isn't a phone-based movie. Someone just answers the phone at the beginning of the movie, and that's it. Like, I'm sure there's more phone. It's not a phone-based horror movie. It's just so weird. But one thing I will give Don't Answer the Phone is I lost count of the pair of tits in that movie. It's got to be 5, 6, 7 separate pairs of tits. So, but I'm not a big fan of sexually crazed maniacs going around, tormenting women like that. So it's got that goofy guy from Darkman, though. Darkman's the first movie I think I saw that guy in. He's also in Swamp Thing and stuff, Mr. Big Bulky guy. Austin says it's amazing how DVD destroyed VHS Laserdisc, but Blu-ray can't destroy DVD. That's a really great comment. Thank you for that. I love DVD's staying power because I thought DVD was an amazing format from day one, or year one, I should say. And I just love that DVD is still around. That is so true. Great comment. Gary Page is here. He says, "Hi, Nate. I'm here, but I'm looking after my mom. She's come out of the hospital after 6 weeks. Keep singing horror things." Oh man, I'm sorry about your mom. I'm glad she's out of the hospital. I'm sorry about that situation for the past 6 weeks. Austin says, "I have Driller Killer on Blu-ray." Okay, probably, is it the Arrow one? Iron Rooster says, "I'm back. My power actually went out." Oh, geez. Everyone, Iron Rooster's in Mississippi, and he's got some severe weather going on down there. That's a bummer. Austin says, "I watched Return of Swamp Thing recently and liked it." Yeah, that's a movie from my childhood. I think I saw both of them when I was 14 for the first time, and you gotta love Heather Locklear back then. Holy cow. It's actually one of the only decent. I can't remember who Jim Warinski. He did Chopping Mall too. I guess he did some good stuff, but he did some not so good stuff too. For Jim Warinski, it's a pretty good movie. Of course, Chopping Mall is too. Austin says, "Oh, okay, it's the Arrow release." Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Driller Killer personally, but I hope you enjoy the Arrow Blu-ray. I looked at a little bit of the very beginning on Tubi TV. I think it's the Arrow video scan, and god damn, it looks good. Because the cover art I think they have for Driller Killer on Tubi TV is the Arrow cover art. It's so cool how they're streaming Arrow transfers for free on Tubi TV. Austin says, wasn't there a Swamp Thing TV series in the 90s? Yes, and not only that, but they just recently made a series, and I think I can't remember his name right now. The guy who played Jason in the 2009 Friday 13th was Swamp Thing. It was a short-lived series recently, and I got the whole series on Blu-ray. I never watched any of it yet, but they did a series in the 90s and then a recent series as well. I'm excited to check out the recent series, but now with the warmer weather, I don't know how much stuff I'm going to be watching. I've got they put out a DVD. I don't think it's the whole thing. It might just be season 1, but I've got at least season 1 of that 90s Swamp Thing series on DVD as well. I can't remember how many seasons of that there was. I'm sure what I have of that isn't the complete series, maybe just season 1. But the recently made show on Blu-ray, since it was not very popular, I guess, or they only did like 1 season or whatever, the Blu-ray version is the complete series. Austin says, I bet Driller Killer looked like shit on VHS, though. Oh my God, tell me about it. Austin says, I need to collect more TV series. Yeah, why don't you get out there and start doing it right now? Well, I can only assume Matt is no longer with us. He showed up early in the show and commented on the audio quality of the show and kind of got me pissed off, or maybe pissed off is a bad way to put it. Just kind of, got me in a bad mood because we were obsessing over the audio quality of the show for the first 15 fucking minutes. And I'm just like, there's nothing the microphone's fucking 3 weeks old. There's nothing, it's plugged in tightly. There's nothing I can do to fucking fix it. Then he wants me to unplug the thing and listen, do it with the laptop mic, like that's any better. As you can tell, I'm still going on. And yes, I've got an obsessive personality, if you haven't noticed. Anyway. Fuck. Austin says the Hellraiser films looked like shit until DVD. Yeah, that's true too. He also says DVD really saved these old ass low budget movies and gave them immortality. Yep, that's true. I'm so thrilled that DVD is still going strong. Iron Rooster says everyone gets aggravated sometimes, so you are a good man. Well, thank you very much. It almost seemed like he showed up at the beginning of the show to piss me off and then just left. Like, Jesus Christ, he's some audiophile or some shit, and he complains about little clipping in the show, and it's like, it's a fucking YouTube fucking stream. 5, 6 people show up for. It doesn't matter if there's fucking clipping or problems with the audio, Fuck. Thank you for that comment there, Iron Rooster. As you can tell, I'm still aggravated. Austin says DVDs still outsell Blu-ray. Blu-ray is still a niche with most people. Yeah, that's true. But I would recommend, anyway, this thing I talked about a few minutes ago, this Stalker or Shadow Stalkers. I would recommend it for these collection of movies. Like, out of all these, I've never seen Out of the Dark, Bloody Pit of Horror, Nightmare in Wax before. So I got to see Out of the Dark for the very first time, which wasn't that great. And it's actually very similar to Don't Answer the Phone, actually. I think both of them have, like, I can't remember the similarities, but it's similarities. And of course, Eyes of Laura Mars, I mean, that's like a classic A movie. So this collection is pretty cool for $5 if you can get it. Just be aware that Driller Killer is not Driller Killer, it's Drive-In Massacre, which I'd actually rather watch anyway. So, and the first three movies, Out of the Dark, Happy Birthday to Me, and Eyes of Lower Mars, I think are decent 185, more recent HD scans. Everything else is like VHS crap. What's so cool about the version of Don't Answer the Phone on this disc is it's got the Media Home Entertainment logo before the movie starts. That's so cool. But 10 movies, $5. And 3 of them are pretty good HD quality. Can't go wrong. Austin says, who was the biggest bitch in the Friday the 13th series? That's a good question. I guess the bitch that comes to mind first was it Melissa from Jason Takes Manhattan? Actually, Melissa, or wait, what did I say? Melissa was in new. I was thinking of the chick from Jason Takes Manhattan, but I said the chick from Part 7. So the bitch from Part 7 and 8, they're big bitches. Melissa and Tamara from Jason Takes Manhattan. That's a good question. Was there I don't think there really was a bitch until 7, was there? That didn't become a thing until 7. I'm trying to think. There really wasn't a bitch until 7. And then they did the bitch in 7, and they kind of copied the bitch in 7 with 8 with Tamara. That's a good question. Thank you very much for the hitchhiker. Got one hitchhiker. So I'd say Melissa's probably the biggest bitch. I'd say Melissa and Tamara kind of equal. They're both bitches. I guess maybe Tamara's worse of a bitch for booting Rennie off the side of the ship. That's probably worse than anything Melissa did. Austin says, I haven't seen any of those you mentioned. Okay, maybe they're on Tubi and or YouTube. But those are in this, as I grab it again, this Mill Creek 3 DVD 10 movie collection by the titled Shadow Stalkers. So I got it for $5 in a DVD bin at a store. And I was hoping that the Don't Open Till Christmas and Silent Night, Bloody Night were like the more recent HD versions, but they're not. But that's okay. The Frog says, just got Night Gallery and Tales from the Dark Side on DVD. Okay. So are you talking about the movie Tales from the Dark Side or the show? Is Night Gallery, are those both shows? Is Night Gallery a show? I'm not as familiar with TV shows as movies. But I like the, where the hell am I in chat? I like the movie of Tales from the Dark Side. Well, actually, I guess I mostly like the story with the mummy. That's my favorite. Black Cat is okay. I don't really like the third story. Austin says, are you going to get Oliver Stone's The Hand Scream Factory Blu-ray? I don't think so. It seems to me I've got that on VHS and wasn't crazy about it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I can't remember anything about it, but I don't think I'm going to get that. Gary Page says a lot of supermarket chains in the UK seem to sell more DVDs than Blu-rays. That's cool. Yeah, it's so cool how DVDs just won't die. Night of the DVD. Iron Rooster says, I actually got the Mill Creek box set that had Scarecrow's 1988 in it. The quality was VHS, but I liked how the Scarecrows looked in the movie. I'm sorry that quality was VHS. I don't know if you can still get I don't know if they're both out of print. I know the Blu-ray's out of print, but I don't know if you can still get the MGM DVD. That's actually probably got the same, that's a good scan. It's probably got the same scan the Blu-ray's got. All I've got is the MGM DVD of Scarecrows, but it upscales really well on the widescreen TV, and it's 185. Maybe that DVD is still available. I would recommend getting that if it is, because it looks really good. Obviously, you don't have the special features that are on the Blu-ray, but life goes on. Austin says Melissa was in Part 7, correct? I think I'm way behind in chat. Austin says the Part 8 bitch was worse for me, just even more unlikable. I think I've since agreed with you because she almost killed Rennie after all. Austin says I'll check out that Mill Creek collection sometime. Yeah, it's worth it if you can get it for $5. I wouldn't really pay any more. The Frog says show. Okay, it's a TV show referring to Night Gallery and Tales from the Dark Side. Okay. Iron Rooster says, I got a cool screener VHS of Friday Part 7. Did you get that at a Goodwill or something? That's really cool. I'm still jealous of, was it you who found those new VHSs at Goodwill that were sealed? I think so. I'm still jealous of that find. That's fun, even though it is the whatchamacallit cheap versions. Austin says, I have some Mill Creek DVDs. They're better than Echo Bridge. At least Echo Bridge felt like a scam. Yeah, Echo Bridge, I don't know, was kind of the same thing as Mill Creek. But I do have to hand it to Echo Bridge. I think they're the only one who ever put out in North America a Blu-ray, which is now out of print and I think going for a lot of money, of Godzilla vs. Biollante, which is actually pretty good. Luckily, I got that not long after it came out. Austin says the 88 Films Blew Up Scarecrows is available and too expensive. Is it out of print? Is that why it's expensive? Oh, I think he meant not too expensive. Austin says, I have Tales from the Dark Side complete series on DVD. Okay. I asked this a while ago. Anyone have any thoughts on? Well, it doesn't matter what your thoughts are. It's gonna happen regardless. But what are your thoughts on my changing of the show times from Thursday at 1 p.m. to Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Time? Because that's what's going to happen starting next Thursday. Because it's getting way too nice to do this during the day where I am. And like I say, I take my nice weather seriously. Have some water. Austin says 9 p.m. is fine. Okay, thanks for the feedback. It better be. It better be, because that's what's going to happen, even if it isn't fine. I know that's not going to be convenient for like Gary Page and some of my UK listeners. What are the other ones? We got Will Powell, and I don't think that other guy from he's from Ireland. I don't think he's been in here for a couple weeks, or last week anyway. Shit, I feel bad I can't. C-Snap. Iron Rooster says, yes, I found them at a local thrift store. I bought Part 7 screener on eBay. Oh, a long time ago. Okay. I also have the screener for Friday the 13th, Part 8 sealed. Those are fun. Iron Rooster says 9 is cool, referring to the time. Okay, good. Yeah, I think everyone here, but I don't know if Gary Page is still here, but I think everyone here that's, but Gary is in the States, so. And anyone listening after the fact that heard my grumpiness of the first half hour of the show, I apologize. It's just frustrating situation. Like, I just got this mic like 3 weeks ago. Austin says, did you see the Hellraiser films in the theaters? The only one I saw in the theaters was Hellraiser 3. It's so funny that my mom brought my buddy of mine and me to see Hellraiser 3. My mom actually liked it. She liked Pinhead in his voice. I actually prefer 3. I almost like 3. I mean, see, by the time they got to 3, they realized that Pinhead was the star. I think they kind of knew that with 2, but by the time they got to 3, they really knew that Pinhead was the star, and they actually took advantage of it. And I think 3's Pinhead might have the most screen time and dialogue of the first 3 movies. So Hellraiser 3 is the only one I saw in the theater. And then when I said this last week, I think, then when Halloween 3 came out on VHS, the same buddy of mine and I skipped school and rode our bikes to the video store to rent it so we could come home and duplicate it. Because Paramount didn't copy protect movies, VHSs. Gary Page says, I'll just have to listen on a Friday. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. One thing I thought about for UK listeners is if you had questions that for me that you wanted me to address in the show and you can't make it to the show, you can always leave a comment or something in, maybe the last week's show. Leave questions, any questions you want me to answer or anything you want me to talk about. Because I feel bad about bailing on you UK people, but you guys can understand, not wanting to miss out on nice spring and summer weather to sit inside and talk to you guys as much as it's fun or whatever. I mean, warm weather is a valuable commodity in Minnesota. But please feel free to do that. If you have anything you want me to talk about or any questions, you can leave a comment and I can answer the questions in the next show or whatever. To be honest, this is a week by week situation. I mean, we'll see how many people show up to the 9 o'clock ones. If the turnout sucks, I mean, maybe I'll just stop doing the show until the fall. I don't know. It's a week to week situation. But I mean, when we did the impromptu Nate and Beth show at whatever the hell we started at, I don't know, 7 or 8 or whatever, and we went for 3 hours, I mean, decent amount of people showed up. So I'm sure the 9 p.m. start time will still be okay. We'll just see. It's a week to week situation. Austin says, I bet part 3 looked cool in theaters. Yeah, I think the thing that actually was kind of better is it sounded cool in theaters. Yeah, it both looked and sounded cool in theaters. I just remember that sex scene, it's just like, oh, mom's sitting there next to us. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It's a sex scene and my mom's sitting next to us. Oh, well, just kind of awkward. Yeah, it was cool to see Hellraiser 3 in the theater. I don't think many people were there. Austin says, Julia Cotton was supposed to be the star, but Pinhead dethroned her. Okay, who's Julia Cotton? Austin says, I do have the first 5 Hellraisers on Blu and the rest on DVD. Yeah, I all I got is 1 through 4. I stopped at 4. I don't think I've even seen anything past 4. Iron Rooster says Pinhead used to scare the shit out of me when I was younger. Okay. That's understandable. Austin says the sex scene in Hellraiser 3 is a classic, laugh out loud. Yeah, imagine sitting in the theater watching that with your mom. Austin says apparently there was a lot of sex scenes cut out of part 1. Yeah, because you can see, I think they probably show one of them in Hellraiser 2, that one, the classic shot of when, I won't describe it, but, there's probably some of the Hellraiser 1 deleted sex scene in Hellraiser 2. All right, everyone, about an hour and 3 minutes into the show. Probably go at least 2 hours. We'll see what the show's like at that point and decide whether we're going to go longer or not. Austin says, hold on one sec. Okay, so Austin says, Julia Cotton was this. Oh, that's right. Okay, the character. I thought you meant an actress, Julia Cotton. Yeah, the character. He says, Julia Cotton was the stepmother of Christy who killed all those guys in the attic. He also says, yep, Hellbound shows more part 1 sex stuff, laugh out loud. Okay, yeah, Julia was the woman who lured men to the house to kill, to get her lover back. Yeah, by the time they got to Hellraiser 3, it's all about making Pinhead the main star, which I agreed with. And I thought it was cool how they did it with the statue, his head being in that statue and stuff. Austin says Hellraiser Inferno was supposed to be a theatrical release. Okay, Claire Higgins played Julia. Okay, when the hell was Inferno made? I don't follow Hellraisers at all. I know that Ashley Lawrence came back at least once. Did she come back more than once? Austin says Frank and Julia's story was finished by the time of part 3, so it was Pinhead's time. Exactly. Screw their story. Christy was in part 6, Hellseeker. Okay, so she just came back for that one. Austin says Christy has a big role in the Boom Hellraiser comic series. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not a comic guy, so I wouldn't know anything about that. Austin says the MPAA really gave Hellraiser a hard time. That's true. You can see some of the extra bits that were cut from the first one in the second one, like when the guy's face gets torn in half or his head or whatever, and other things as well. Gary Page says, have you seen the UK cinema poster for Friday the 13th, 1980? It looks more like a teen comedy summer camp film, but they stuck a screaming girl's face in at the back. Is it the one where, yeah, is it the quad? I think it, okay, I think I know what you're, and a knife like's cutting. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I actually like that, but you're right. It does look like a teen movie at summer camp with just because it's like a painting of them on the dock and stuff. I think it's the British quad. I actually like that, but I can see where you're coming from. I actually like that poster. Austin says parts 2 and 3 were heavily cut. I'm assuming he's talking about Hellraiser. Austin says, I wonder why they deleted the wedding scene in Hellraiser 1. You see some of it in parts 2's flashback. It's hard to say. I mean, there's probably, a lot of stuff cut. Gary Page says, yes, that's the one. Yeah, I like that poster. But you're right. I can see how it's like, it looks like a teen, like Meatballs or something, a teen movie at camp with a random screaming woman. It's fun to see the foreign posters from movies and stuff. I've actually got the Japanese poster for original Friday the 13th, and actually got I think Korean or something. Back when I was doing my eBaying. Austin says the Hellbound Heart is the novel Hellraiser is based on. That's kind of a cool title. That's probably what they based the title for the second one over, Hellbound. Iron Rooster says I have the first Friday the 13th poster that I got from an old theater that went out of business near me. That's really cool. Yeah, I've got a reproduction of one, or I don't know if it's the original or a reproduction I got way back in the 90s when I was working at Suncoast. I got the posters for 2, 3, and or 2, or 1, 2, and 6. And I don't know if they're reproduction. That was only 15 or so years after the movie came. It could be real posters. I don't know, but did I say reproduction? I don't know if they're reproductions, but I like them. If you watch my Friday the 13th, 1980 review, you'll know that I think the poster for the first Friday the 13th is just one of the best movie posters ever. It's just great. What condition is that poster in? Probably pretty. Is it folded, or has it got the fold creases? Austin says Coil was supposed to score Hellraiser 1, but the studio didn't like them. Was it some band or something? I don't know what Coil is. Gary Page says, I think the Australian poster has an axe hitting the pillow Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's the Japanese one too, I think, or something. Or maybe the Korean one or something. Iron Rooster says, mine has some where it's folded. Okay. Yeah, the ones I got from my work in the 90s weren't folded. We sold posters with cardboard. They weren't, pardon me, they weren't even rolled. They were, had thick cardboard backing. So they were actually, and sealed in whatever it's called, just shrink wrap. So they weren't folded or rolled. They were just as, you'd present it in a frame or whatever, on a thick cardboard slab. So my Friday 1, 2, and 6 posters weren't folded or rolled at all. They've since gotten some kind of mold on them from humid summers, but I can live with that. You can kind of brush it off. Austin says, yes, Coil is a band. Well, to be honest, I love the music in Hellraiser by, was it Christopher Young or whatever? So I think it's just as well that Christopher Young did the music. It's pretty epic. Iron Rooster says, couple little stains, also overall decent condition, though. Well, that's to be expected for like a 41-year-old poster, but that's really cool. Would you have it on the wall, or what you doing with it? Austin says, you can listen to their rejected Hellraiser score on YouTube. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, for a while there, I was, doing some poster collecting. I've since gotten the part 3, 4, 5 Friday the 13th posters on eBay over the years, and all I'm missing is 7, but I'm too cheap to get 7. I was eyeing 7 poster for a while, but I was just too cheap. So I've got the Friday posters for the first 6 movies. I think all of them, none of them are folded from what I remember. But yeah, that I'm just looking at Friday the 13th poster now. That's just beyond classic. The Frog says, anyone see Motel Hell any good? Oh, I grew up with that. I love Motel Hell. It's kind of like a horror movie that's got a comedic tone to it. I'm sure that might be on TubiTV.com, or if not, maybe it's on YouTube or something. I love Motel Hell. I first saw that, I think, when I was 15. I got like the original VHS, the MGM VHS. That's like, I can't really describe it, but yeah, I'm a fan of Motel Hell. I would recommend it. Be warned, it's not like it's straight out horror. It's kind of goofy horror, but it's fun. If you like the original, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff, it's kind of like that, harvesting people for basically to barbecue them and sell them as beef jerky or whatever. Austin says Hellraiser 4 needs a director's cut. Yeah, that's probably true. I'm surprised that never happened. To my knowledge, Iron Rooster says I need to get it framed. Regarding his Friday the 13th poster, Austin says I have a Hellraiser 1 poster. Yeah, I don't know. Was it last year I showcased? The only thing I've got for Hellraiser 1 is that little mini standee. If you guys have seen that video, little Hellraiser 1 video store mini standee. Other than that, I don't have any other Hellraiser posterage or anything. Is that like a theatrical poster, like a video store poster, or just reprint? Iron Rooster says I love my original Halloween 2 poster. Is that the what's on that now? Is it just the pumpkin with the skull on it? What's on the original Halloween 2 poster? Austin says, have you seen Demons 1 and 2? I've seen 1. I don't know. I can't remember if I've seen 2 or not, but I'm familiar with 1. That's fun. I like Demons. And sniffing the coke out of the coke can. I mean, the cocaine out of the coke can. Classic stuff. And the music's so fun in Demons. Austin says, there is a Hellraiser 3 work print I'm looking for. Okay, good luck with your search. Austin says it's a theatrical poster, not sure if it's a reprint or not. Yeah, I mean, well, if you're not sure, it must be a good reprint. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's a reprint as long as it looks good. I mean, if you can't tell, then I guess it doesn't matter. I'm not one of these people that needs like original posters and crap. Just if it's a good print of a poster, I'm fine with it. I've got a smaller like reprint of the Friday the 13th Part 1 poster, and it looks really good. So in addition to the normal size one I got from Suncoast in the 90s. Austin says it's a theatrical poster, not sure if, I already read that. Iron Rooster says it's a pumpkin. So it's the pumpkin with the skull for the Halloween 2 poster. Okay, Austin says the reprints are good. Iron Rooster says I don't have many posters. That's okay. I mean, they're almost like a pain in the ass to have because the ones I got that aren't on the wall are just on the floor right here in the quote unquote studio, laying on the ground, so they're not rolled up or folded or anything. Austin says I want some sleepaway camp posters. Yeah, that'd be fun. The poster for the original Sleepaway Camp's also a classic too. Austin says the ending to Sleepaway Camp. Wow. Exactly. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, don't worry, I'm not going to ruin it. Silence, 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 silence. Iron Rooster says, I wish I had Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 Blu-ray. Oh, I was just thinking about those today, that they're out of print and luckily I've got them. Luckily. And I was just thinking they're out of print and how much they're freaking going for now. That's such a bummer. I don't know what the hell happened with that situation. Some kind of rights issue or something. They had to stop selling them or something. That is a bummer. Might have to save up and get them on eBay. I don't even know if they're, to be honest, worth paying what people are asking. The last time I looked, I mean, I think they were asking a lot. Austin says, I like that I like that the child molester in Sleepaway 1 gets boiling hot water poured all over him. Laugh out loud. Damn, that was painful. Yeah, that's interesting how, like, in a slasher movie, usually people don't live. That's an interesting scene where the guy just gets burned with boiling water all over his body and still lives. I mean, in a way, you could argue that that's worse than being killed. So that was really cool about that movie. That's the first quote unquote, normally kill scene, but it's a burn scene. That is a cool bit about that movie. They're warming up to kills. Austin says I have Sleepaway Camp 2, 3, Scream Factory Blu-rays as well. Yeah, me too. Oh man, Iron Rooster says big bummer. They're like $80 to $100. Yeah, I'm not too sure they're worth that. I mean, the movies themselves. I mean, I hope you've got them at least on that Scream Factory DVD because those get the job done definitely better than the VHSs. Do you have the Scream Factory? Not Scream Factory, Christ! It's Anchor Bay Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 DVDs. That'd be a good alternative if you don't. Gary Page says 88 Films put 2 and 3 out, but I don't know if they're region locked. Probably are, I would imagine. Otherwise, people wouldn't be able to get $80 to $100 on eBay for them. That's a good point, though. Austin says those burn effects and white blisters were pretty impressive for such a low budget movie. Yeah, that was one of the things that was cool about it. He put the music or the money in the right places for makeup effects, and the music is beyond classic in Sleepaway Camp. The score, Austin says Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 have an 88 Films releases and they're much cheaper, but what region are they? Iron Rooster says, I guess I need to get a Region B player. Yeah, it could come in handy, but from what I hear, those are expensive too. It's not cheap to be a movie nut. But Iron Rooster, do you have the DVDs of 2 and 3? Because, that'd be better than nothing. Anchor Bay DVDs, I think. Gary Page says the cook was dirty bastard. He needed his balls cutting off. Baldies. He needed his balls cutting off baldies. So you think he got off easy? That might be true. He maybe needed to get something sliced off. From where I come from, we call them baldies. I always wonder when he says that line where he comes from. Joyzy. Austin says Sleepaway Camp Films has bitches as well. That's true. Judy in part 1 and that blonde bitch in part 2. Yep. I don't think there's a bitch in part 3, is there? Oh yeah, there is. That chick who gets hauled up the flagpole. So there's a bitch in all 3 Sleepaway Camps. I guess that was the Sleepaway Camp staple. Austin says 88 Films versions of Sleepaway 2 and 3 are Region B. Mother F. Austin says, but all you need is a region-free player. He says it like it's so easy. Like you can just turn on your Star Trek replicator and say, Old Gray, hot. Oh, and Region B, Blu-ray player. New. Iron Rooster says, no, I only have the first Sleepaway Camp on Blue. I need to look into the DVDs. Yeah, I would recommend trying to maybe, I don't know if you can still buy the Anchor Bay DVDs of part 2 and 3 new or not, but I would imagine those would be a lot cheaper on eBay than obviously the Blu-rays. And, you've got, more recent widescreen 185 transfers and stuff. So that would be an alternative to the ridiculously expensive Blu-rays of 2 and 3. It seems to me like I don't know if 2 and 3 Sleepaway Camps are on Tubi TV. I know they're on. I think they're on Prime if you've got Prime, but that's also an alternative, a way to watch the more recent scans on streaming. I know streaming isn't a substitute for, DVD or Blu-ray, but I'm just trying to think of options. Austin says Amazon sells region-free players, pretty easy to get actually, and not too expensive either. Okay, that's an interesting point. Iron Rooster says Slumber Party 2 and 3 are the same way. Yeah, I luckily got that before that went out of print as well. Or those. That was the cool thing about that is it was a double feature. So it was, you paid, both movies are in one package. I was hoping that's how they were going to do Sleepaway 2 and 3, but they knew enough people out there would pay individually for those, so they didn't do that. Iron Rooster says I have the DVD shout for that. I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to. Austin says 220 Electric sells a lot of region-free players too. Have you seen Dr. Sleep? Yeah, that's something I've been meaning to review. I was actually pretty impressed with Dr. Sleep. But yeah, I was actually pretty impressed with it. I got the Blu-ray, but I've never watched the director's cut yet. Iron Rooster says Shout Factory put out a DVD set for Slumber Party. Oh, that's right. I got that too for 1, 2, and 3. Okay, good call. Austin says, remember when Anchor Bay was king of boutique labels? Yeah, or even Elite Entertainment. Remember Elite Entertainment? They were more Laserdisc, though. I don't think they did a lot of DVD. I've got an Evil Dead DVD from Elite Entertainment. I think they did some DVDs in the late 90s, but I don't think they went too far into the early 2000s. And Rooster says, do you like the Fly series? I'm not crazy big on the Fly series, but that's okay. Austin says, Elite was good. Yep, Elite Entertainment. Better believe it. Austin says Anchor Bay went to shit in the late 2000s. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Can we blame Stars for that or whatever? Austin says, I guess they still own Halloween 1, 4, and 5. Yeah, it seems to be the case. Iron Rooster says, "Do you like Scanners? I have the first three, but haven't watched them yet." I'm not the biggest Scanners fan either, although I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't watch it very often. I guess that's just because I'm more of stock and slash fan. Austin says Stars sucks. Austin says I have Scanners 2 and 3 Blu-ray. So Iron Rooster says Vestron Video has a collector's series of Blu-rays. Do you have? He probably meant any of them. I just ordered because it's a decent price. My first one, Chopping Mall, so I'm probably going to get that in a couple days. That'll be my first one. I didn't get any of them yet because when they first came out, they were just such ridiculous prices. But I got Chopping Mall for $20. Iron Rooster says I picked up Shivers in Walmart. Yeah, Shivers seems to be like the cheapest one on Amazon. Iron Rooster says I want Slaughter High. Is that an expensive one? I can't remember. I would imagine I saw that movie. I can't remember if I've seen it or not. He says I'm surprised Walmart was carrying it. Yeah, maybe they're more hip than we thought. Just kidding, of course. We know that's not the case. Gary Page says, "Do you think the Roan Group's Laserdisc of Zombie has a problem with the color? It looks too colorful." Yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. As a matter of fact, I just recently dug that out. I've got that. Obviously, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I think I can remember it being, the saturation of the color was up there. But I mean, I don't. I think I kind of liked that look, so I don't think I had a problem with it. But I'll be showcasing that Laserdisc one of these days. I just actually started this week shooting Laserdisc showcasing videos, and will continue to do so as the weather continues to improve. So there. All right, folks, we're about an hour and 34 minutes into the show. We'll go until, 2 hours and see what things are like at that point. Iron Rooster says it's probably about 20. I think Harry Manfredini does the music in Slaughter High. Oh, okay, that's cool. I can only assume, I think I've got the VHS of it. I can only assume I've seen it. Austin says I have Slaughter High on Vestron Blue. Okay, I might have like what the fuck's it called? Lionsgate DVD collection with it on. Actually, I got Chud 2 is on there as well, and like that one waxwork or whatever. Iron Rooster says I thought that was cool. What was cool? Slaughter High. Austin says Slaughter High looked terrible on DVD. Gary Page says I sold my laser disc because DVD took off so quickly. I do regret it now. Oh, you had that Roan Group one? Yeah, I was going through all my laser discs, and I remember I had a New Nightmare laser disc, which actually kind of had a cool cover, and I couldn't find it. So I can only assume I sold that and sometime after the DVD collection came out, which was kind of a bummer. But that's kind of a bummer, but that's okay. Iron Rooster says I only have it on DVD. DeFrog says recommend any werewolf movies. I mean, your basics are like The Howling and obviously American Werewolf in London. I'm sure other people in the chat can chime in. I can't necessarily think of any more off the top of my head. I'm sure when other people mention them in chat, I'll go, oh, of course. But those are two big ones. Oh, Silver Bullet. Those are like the three that I can really think of. Obviously, werewolf movies from the Universal Monsters era. Like Lon Chaney Wolfman and that kind of stuff. I don't know if you're open to those kind of Universal Monster werewolf movies, but more contemporary would be. Well, I guess it's not even that contemporary anymore. I'm dating myself. Would be Howling and American Werewolf in London and Silver Bullet. I guess American Werewolf in Paris if you want to see CG werewolves. Austin says Waxwork looked like VHS on DVD. It probably was. Iron Rooster says Waxwork was an okay movie. I can't honestly remember if I've even seen it or not. Austin says Waxwork 3 would have been cool. Okay, so they only did 2, I guess. How was 2 compared to the first one? Gary Page says I sold my collection and the player, it did take up space. Yeah, that's understandable. I wonder how many Laserdiscs I sold that I don't even remember that I had. Because I remember being surprised afterwards, after I was looking at the Laserdisc, being surprised like, wait a second, I had New Nightmare. How come I didn't come across that? And I can only assume I sold it. Austin says Waxwork 2 is very different, more of a sci-fi fantasy film. Oh, okay. There's no wax museum in part 2 either. Oh, God. He says it's a time-hopping film, Waxwork 2, I guess. Okay. Trying to capitalize on the success of Back to the Future. Of course, Waxwork came out after Back to the Future. It's just funny. More silence for everyone. Silence is golden. Austin says nothing like Back to the Future, actually, more like alternate dimensions. Oh, geez. So like Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Iron Rooster says, "Do you like the Leprechaun series? Haha." I mean, what's her name's hot in the first one? Let's face it. Actually, I saw. I think the chick. There's a chick in the second one that's actually pretty hot too. But I think the furthest I got was the second one or the third one. I mean, they all blur together. I mean, I've got like the collection that's got the first five or something in it, but I think I've only got to three, or maybe the hot chick was in the third one. I can't remember. There's some hot blonde in the third or second one. It might have been the second one. But I mean, the only thing, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Leprechaun movies. Austin says it's a fun sequel, so it sounds like Waxwork 2 is a fun sequel. Well, that's good to hear.